Well, hey traders, and welcome to today's edition of Where the Bears Fight the Bulls. My name's James, and we have a big day today. Big day with news. So let's have a little look at what's going on in the markets. We obviously have the elections taking place today in the US. So, firstly, let's jump on to Bloomberg. Okay, well that's really annoying. Sign in. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, let's go to Forex Factory then, to start with today. Well, for some reason I have actually subscribed to Bloomberg. Let's just see if I can get in there anyway. There you go. You get two free articles anyway with Bloomberg. So it's a good place to obviously see what's happened in the past and what may be coming up in the future with news. So what I should be doing is let's just put my trading platform. Let's put it up on the big screen up there. I don't know if you can see that. Just up there. Okay. Okay. And obviously I've got the other trading screen here. And okay, so start with Bloomberg. Let's have a look. So Europe's energy crunch will trigger years of shortages and blackouts. Okay, I'm actually in natural gas up here as well. So let's have a look at natural gas. It's actually dropping at the moment, which is potentially a good time to buy. So natural gas. So we want to get back into natural gas down about here. We're going long, but let's have a quick look at the news. Okay, so leaving Twitter. Okay, no. So most read, billionaire Ken Griffin praises new Florida home. Okay, that's not really relevant for us. What else is going on? Okay, the S&P is up. The Nasdaq is up. Crude oil is down. 10-year treasuries are up. Okay, so that might push gold down. Okay, what's going on with the dollar? We'll have a look at the charts in a minute. Ferrari, Lamborghini and other supercar sales boom in Japan. Okay, but that's not really relevant. That's interesting, but that's not really relevant. Crypto. Okay, so FTX token tumbles below $22 barrier. So, crypto. Personally, I'm not really that fond of crypto at the moment. Okay, let's see what's going on live. What's that? Snoop Dogg signs WME representative in all areas. Okay. Head of banking dynasty. Rothschild. Okay, bit of positive news. UK provides $109 million climate funding for Nigerian farmers. Okay, Apple's brain drain hinders efforts to pick its next Johnny Ive. Okay, Twitter, Meta push tech job cut. Pace near early pandemic levels. Okay, so it's all about Twitter, Apple, and the tech. So we'll have a look at what's actually coming up as well today shortly. Traders clamour for Middle East oil amid Russia uncertainty. That oil has taken a bit of a dive in the last few hours, which I believe no, it hasn't. Okay, so I'm still waiting for oil to get it back up to here. Right. Okay, so Forex Factory. What we've got going on today, we've got the US elections, which is all day. So there is a red here for Australian dollar. Okay, we've got 3 minutes to the bell. So, I mean, big news today really is just all about the elections in the US. It's all day from about now probably, because it's 9:30 in. No, it's not. What's the time in? Maybe I'm an hour late. See, always got to make sure your time zones are correct. So time in New York now is maybe 9:27. No, so it is actually correct. Okay, so the bell will open. Yep, I thought I was right. Okay, so the bell will open in 3 minutes. So what I'm expecting maybe today is a bit of volatility with the US dollar and strength and weakness in gold. Let's see what happens. Let's just put my chart on gold there. So okay, we're having a bit of a pump on gold again. You know, right, so dollar. Okay, so when it comes to the dollar, you know, technically, I think I drew this line in one of the last sessions. You see the daily price on the dollar has basically been cycling like this, respecting the 50 moving average. Here it's respecting the 20 moving average. Here it's broken through to the 50. Here it's on the 20. It's on halfway between the 20 and the 50. Broken through the 20, but it's also failed here, you see. So the price has then broken through the 50, like it has here, and then it's retraced back up, and then it's failed here. So technically, if we get a breakthrough here, we're back in a downtrend on the daily. But you know, you could argue that it's failing to break new highs on the dollar. So when I'm watching this and I'm thinking gold is looking very bullish again. But we're going to see what's going to happen there, because I would like to see on gold a bit more of a drop before I buy again. So it's fundamentally driven, gold. It's driven by the dollar. If the dollar is dropping, and it drops in this zone here, so if the dollar does drop into this box here, actually, okay, so obviously the bell's just gone, not much change at the moment. Okay, so we have a whiteboard. Okay, right, so in terms of this chart, possibly what we're going to see is some red bars coming down like this to this level, which so this level on the dollar, which is approximately 109.5. Okay, so if that's 109.5 and this point here, then if these bars do break, I mean, maybe what might happen is we might get a bit of a technical might get like a low test bar here or something forming, and then another one here like this, and then maybe we'll start seeing a bit of a bounce. Okay, and then if we see this break at this point through here, then we're technically breaking through that level. Okay, now this is fundamentally driven, remember, driven by the interest rates, the elections, everything that's going on. Everything that's actually going on in the US. So that's possibly what we might see, a bounce off this level here, and then if we see like a drop, and if it does go through this level, then there's not really much support for a little bit further. You know, remember this is purely technicals that I'm talking about now. I'm not talking fundamentals, because the fundamentals are what are driving it, but you know, it's always good to have a bit of technical analysis there as well, just to understand or to look at a chart and read the chart, because the fundamentals will get you potentially ready for a trade, but the technicals could influence you to actually take the trade. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm looking for a break of that level, and if we have a break at that level, then I'm thinking that's going to be my driver to potentially get into some gold. But also I want to see, I mean, this is not trending, it's just a rally on gold last Friday. So yeah, nothing really to trade today, because we've got to be careful, because we don't know what's going to go on in the markets. Now, one trade I came out of last week was a Dow Inc. We also had UPS we were watching. We also had Philip Morris International, Berkshire Hathaway. We had MasterCard, so we traded MasterCard. We made profits on MasterCard. We had Pfizer as well. So you see all these stocks are starting to drop off a bit at the moment. Now, Meta, I mean, look where Meta is. You know, we're back to that news in Bloomberg. Meta push tech job cut. So tech firms are, not sure why I'm not subscribed to Bloomberg on this computer, really annoying, but the actual fee came out of my bank the other day, so why I'm not subscribed, I do not know. That's for me to worry about. So tech firms are slashing spending as inflation hits budgets. Okay. So this is potentially a reason why cuts in big tech following disappointing earning reports. And you know, you think about the disappointing earning reports, and you think about the fact that, you know, you think about the fact that we've got a situation in the world at the moment where global recession is, in my view, imminent, and we've got a situation where inflation is sky high, because every person I've spoken to for quite some time now, everyone's feeling the pinch, basically. You know, so cost of living is increasing everywhere at the moment. And because it's increasing everywhere, we've got to find other ways of getting around this, and other ways of making profits and money, basically. And there are other ways, you know. And we look at these there's news about tech, and we think, well, there's news about tech here. Twitter, Meta, they push tech job cuts pace. So they're not basically employing as many people. They're cutting jobs. They're slowing down because of earnings, because of inflation. You know, people aren't buying as many the latest iPhone. They're not buying, you know, the latest iPad, because they've already got one. So why would you buy a new one when you've already got one? Or they might buy a second-hand one, which is not going to help Apple. You know, and this is a thing. So what we do, we look at this sort of news, and we think, well, okay. I'm thinking, I was looking at, I mean, Meta is just on a free fall at the moment. When we see a bit of stability, maybe in Meta, I mean, it's just a mess. I do wish I could turn off that Discord bleeping. It's bloody annoying. But if we go to Apple, so Apple is probably, I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that Apple will be down a bit at the moment because of this earnings and because of this news and because of inflation. So let's have a look. Yeah. Okay, so I've had a little buy here indicator. That was then. This is now. Okay, now if I wanted to buy there then before, a few weeks ago, maybe I was here or something and I wanted to buy when the price came back down to here. But I'm not going to buy that. I mean, it's still a fairly expensive stock at $138. So you've got to think about the whole, what's going on in the world before you go into a stock, basically. Now, Starbucks, on the other hand, this is Starbucks, isn't it? Yep, Starbucks Corporation. That is another potential trade that has been a possible trade for the last few weeks. However, people can buy instant coffee. You don't have to go to Starbucks to buy your coffee. You don't have to go out to your coffee shop, you know, and spend $20, £20 or whatever to have a coffee and a cake. You know, you might want to. It might be something you do. But if some people are tightening their belts, are they really going to go in and buy as much coffee and cakes as they used to? Or are they going to just sometimes, maybe not every time, but are they sometimes going to say, okay, well, let's not go to Starbucks today. Let's just get you know, I still want a coffee, but let's just have an instant. Or an espresso, which is almost as good anyway. You know. So I'm not looking at Starbucks. Technically, it could be a good trade, but because of that reason, I'm not gonna do it anyway. It's gapped up anyway. So if it was last week, I mean that is a big gap. So really, yes, if we bought here, then brilliant. We could have had a nice big chunk of profit there. But it's all could-haves and would-haves and why didn't I and why shouldn't I and all this sort of stuff. So at the moment, you know, we've got a lot going on today with the elections. I'm not going to enter any fresh trades today. I'm just going to watch. I'm going to mainly watch the dollar, see what happens. I'm going to obviously watch the gold. I'm going to watch the natural gas. I want to see more of a drop in the natural gas before we go in again long. I'm currently hedging natural gas. You know, I did a contract rollover a few weeks ago, which hasn't really played out yet, so I've got to wait for that to get back to break even. But at that point, when that's at break even, I will be out of that trade. It might not come back to break even, so I might need to buy more, but you know, to offset the loss on that particular trade if that happens. At the moment, looking at the chart though, and you look at the history of natural gas, and you see the way it moves, and I do like the way natural gas moves. You know, it does this sort of thing. You know, so getting in here, getting in down here would have been incredible. Getting out up here. So technically, head and shoulders pattern. You see? So there's a shoulder. There's a head. And there's a sort of shoulder, but here, you know, you've got a massive engulfing bar, so I know. I'm going to look at possibly buying in this area. Again, over the next few weeks. Okay, so another one that I'm in is Virgin Galactic. Okay, so I nearly bought more Virgin Galactic. I'm in about here, I believe. It's $5.50 I'm in actually. So I think I got in. Don't know. Got in somewhere around here, $5.50. So I'm down at the moment. I just need to wait. I need to wait on that one. But what I would also do is do some research on, and this is one of the good things about TradingView. You can click on a chart and you can go to some news. Okay. Richard Branson must face lawsuit in US over Virgin Galactic space travel problems. Okay. So back in August, this is when the shares fell because they're postponing the commercial flights. However, I have heard some news actually that they are planning a lot more now, and this is why we've seen this pump here. So there's a lot of new flights planned for Virgin Galactic. So that's on my radar. Tesla. Oof. Okay, do you remember a minute ago we were talking about Tesla, about Apple stocks and tech, big tech? Now, there's no bigger tech out there than Tesla. Now, you think about the share stock split that happened a little while ago. Basically, whether I can find that now on this chart, probably can't because it's probably been adjusted, but the stock split took place quite some time ago, a few months ago. Okay, it's not on this chart, but there's a huge gap, a huge drop in the price because what happened was Tesla split their stock into a number. So if you own one share, then you would suddenly own, if you owned one share for $1,000, for example, and then they did their split into 4, then you would have 4 shares at $250 each. So they did a stock split. So sometimes in the run-up to a stock split, it's a good time for traders to get in because the price does tend to increase in the run-up to the stock split. But in my experience, you want to be out before the stock split actually happens because normally, when you think about it, it's supply and demand. If suddenly there's 4 times as many or 5 times as many stocks out there, they're just a lot cheaper, then you're flooding it with 4 times as many stocks. So suddenly you've got a situation where there's more of them, hell of a lot more of them. So supply and demand doesn't really stack up to be buying at that stage until it settles down. Now, this is not the right chart to look at because there's no gap here, but the prices, you probably might remember, are up to 1,000. See, I've even got a buy button there. So I'm not sure why this chart doesn't actually show the previous history of the previous price. Maybe what they've done is they've adjusted the price accordingly in the history. So in other words, they just moved the chart down to fit the rest of it. So, but it's looking like it's just gonna, well, it's a bit of a level here, technically again, but we are talking, with Tesla, we are talking big tech. So if big tech earnings down, so if we look at Tesla and we look at news, Tesla investors to brace for recall of 40,000 Model 3s. XEVs while stock already under pressure. Okay. So, okay, he says it's the worst chart I've ever seen. Is he still a believer? Tesla recalls 40,000, yeah. So, okay, that's a bit positive news. That's 4 hours ago. China sold 1.86 million passenger cars in October, up 7.2%. That's 6 hours ago. So there is positive Tesla news out there. Right, so what's this then? As Tesla shares drop below $200, analysts suggest a fix. It has nothing to do with the EV maker. Don't buy the stock. That's my fix. Or wait for it to be really cheap. So yeah, let's see what happens with Tesla. Probably it might come down to here, it might come down to 150 next. So I'm just going to move that down there. 150 is the next psychological level. And there was a bit of a level there as well. But that was back in October 20. So, but it is on a bit of a free fall at the moment, so not a good time to buy. Unless you're shorting, that's a different story. Right, silver, nearly up at $21. Okay, it's good for silver. Very nice for my silver trades that I'm in. Yes, I should have got into some more here, but I didn't because I was conservative. And the key now is to wait for a pullback. If we're going to break, you think we're on the daily chart here. Technically, this is a 200 moving average. There's a 200-day moving average. Okay, so if we close above this green line here, then I mean silver's actually technically in an uptrend anyway now because it's above the 50 EMA. But this is a 200. Let's just double check on that. 200, yeah, 200 moving average. Okay, let's change that to the moving at EMA. Okay, it just means it's going to move slightly rather than a simple moving average. Okay, so this is good for silver. I mean, analysts are talking about some analysts are talking silver $500. I think someone said in 2023. I mean, you look at the charts. Look at where we are. All-time highs back in 1980. So look at the way silver almost went vertically up. Same thing happened here. So that's almost $50, okay? So we might see $50 again soon. Now, for you silver traders out there, I mean, I'll be honest, I used to be heavily in gold. I'm still in gold quite a lot. I prefer trading silver because it moves quicker. I mean, gold's back up to 1778, 79. So it's just touching $21, just hit $21. Okay, I mean, it's looking nice. Okay, I'm going to look at okay, I did say I'm not trading today because of the elections. However, I'm liking the look of the silver chart. I'm liking the look of the silver chart. Okay, so my plan will be for silver okay, just have another quick look at the chart. So the down at the bottom here, stretch it out. 15-minute chart. Okay, we've got momentum. We are way above the moving average, the 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. In fact, we are, as mentioned, just above it on the daily chart. So this is good technically. Now, I want to see this happen now, because we've just broken this high just about, almost. I think this will probably come up, maybe if it does, it'll come up to maybe 21.5. And then we see this, and then this is where I want to be buying, okay? Around here. So the price we're at the moment, I want to see these highs broken first. Bear in mind, I'm zooming in on the 15-minute chart. Look at the hourly chart, we've got momentum, we've got direction. Look at the 4-hour chart, we've got direction. Okay, a bit of resistance here, you see. So this resistance, if it breaks through this resistance here, okay, the support here as well, so that's quite a strong level. There's another level there just underneath as well, just there. You see that? This is like support, resistance, so it's bouncing off here. And then it's bouncing off here, but it's also bouncing off here, so somewhere around here. So let's see what happens over the next few hours with silver. Whether we get a break through here, or whether we get a close off the 15-minute chart. Like, look at this here, this high test bar. This is an engulfing bar. So if the price breaks here and turns around and comes back down to here, and then we get price action. So when I say price action, I'm looking for potentially a low test bar. So it doesn't matter what colour the bar is, but it will be possibly something like this. Could even be a bigger cross there. Okay. That's the sort of cross I will be looking for, potentially on that support line on there. So if we get that sort of bar, which is a low test bar, it could be red, it could be red, it could be green. Colour doesn't really matter too much. But either or, if it does that on the chart, then that's great. Just here. And the other thing to look out for is the MACD indicator. So what I'd like to see is a crossover here at some point, and then the price coming down, and then a nice crossover here, and that, where that cross is, that's my buy zone. Okay, so we've got a bendy line here. No. So it's just imagine a cross. So we draw this on, so we know, so across there. Okay, imagine they're bent, these lines, and then another cross there. So this is where I'll be buying. As soon as I get that cross, now that cross there matches up with my low test bar on that level. They are my rules. Okay, so I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy silver at that point. If those things happen, if they happen. So let's just write those rules down. And write them on the chart so we know where we are. So, text. Okay, so we want higher highs. Higher highs on the 15-minute. We want, what else do we want? We want a low test bar, price action. We also want to be on the level or thereabouts. And that was it. So the first thing that's going to happen, we need the moving average cost on the MACD average cross. Ideally at the top. Then at the bottom to identify our buy position. Okay, right. So we wait on that. We wait and see what happens. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come back to this chart later on. I mean, it's a 15-minute chart, so it could happen pretty quickly, but I think let's just forecast roughly how long that's going to take if that happens. So let's just say I'm expecting maybe a bounce off the 21.5. So we've got 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So now we're there, hour and a half, probably in a couple of hours. I'll keep an eye on it. Okay, and that is the one I'm watching at the moment. Obviously, I'm still watching oil. Just a very quick look at oil. Now we're nowhere near the shorting zone we want to be in yet. Thinking this might be becoming a bit of an uptrend, so I want to be shorting this maybe at $100 if that's the case. So we're just waiting on that. Okay, thanks for joining. That concludes my video today, and I'll be back on the charts in a few hours, depending on what happens with the silver trade and whether I execute it or not. Depends on the rules. Thank you guys for joining. This is James at the Trading Hub.